Hi, and welcome to another episode of Beyond Threats by Bleckmann podcast. Today, we will be taking a deep dive, as we always do, in developments and trends in fashion and lifestyle. On one hand, for you, the brands and the enthusiasts, and on the other side, for us, suppliers and 3PLs. Today's topic is the benefits that come from a partnership with a 3PL. And for that purpose, I'm joined by Jimmy, head of community at Represent Clothing. Hi, Jimmy. Nice to see you again, man.
Always a pleasure meeting up with you.
Great. So, how was Black Friday?
Crazy as usual. We did a lot of orders, a lot of customer service tickets, and a lot of parcels left Bleckmann. So all good.
Perfect. Good to hear, mate. Represent is truly a standout brand. It's receiving a lot of attention in all that has to do with fashion and lifestyle, obviously. But can you share a bit more on who you are, who Represent is, and what you think is behind the stormy growth of your company, and what made it possible, of course.
So start with the brand. It started in Greater Manchester in 2011. Two brothers started it called Mike and George, who are still the owners and founders now. They're in the office 9 to 5 every day, so that's fun. They started it just selling T-shirts to their friends. It slowly grew and grew and grew over the years. They employed some of the friends. Eventually, they got a warehouse, which we're currently in, to originally ship their orders many years ago. And then they slowly outgrew that in 2016, I believe it was. And they moved to 3PL that's not Bleckmann in 2016. And then the COVID pandemic really exploded Represent. They changed the business model to serve customers every week. So they drop close every week. And obviously during the pandemic, there wasn't much going on. So people really latched onto it. And that's when the brand exploded. So that in turn created a few issues around the 3PL. They couldn't service the orders they were getting. So in 2021, we moved over to Bleckmann, which has been a fruitful partnership. I myself started as customer service manager in 2021 when we changed the 3PL from the old logistics centre, which dealt with customer service. We moved logistics to Bleckmann and customer service in-house. So me and my team started in 2021. That role slowly grew into more community focused because we realised, I already knew before I started at the brand, people who like Represent really like Represent, and they make their own Facebook groups, which has got like 16,000 people in. There's WhatsApp groups with hundreds of people in. There's Reddits and Discords. People just want to talk about Represent all day, every day. So my role moved more from customer service into community, which is helping service the people who love the brand, doing customer service for those guys, making sure deliveries hit them early, giving them early access to our drops, just communicating with them on a more personal basis, arranging events for them and such. So the way I explain it is like a hotel concierge for people who buy clothes, which is my role while still overseeing customer service, so reporting on tickets, deliveries, operations, that kind of stuff.
Thanks for that, man. And I know, and I'm being reminded on a daily basis by my kids that I'm a far cry from a Gen Z. But so what you are naming and the community, that is so mind-boggling to me. So we're in fashion and lifestyle. What do you mean community? But since I know you, of course, I checked you out online, etc., and all that you're doing. It's amazing, man. And I applaud you for it. It's kind of a new segment to the overall business that we work in. Yeah,
I appreciate it. It's the younger generation, I feel, attaches to people more than brands. So because we're very founder led, Mike and George, the brothers, are still very active. They're still replying to the DMs. People connect to them more than just the clothes themselves. So if they connect to that lifestyle, then they'll check out the brand and then they'll maybe buy some clothes, but we focus on experiences and lifestyle and that kind of thing first,
Yep.
and everything else kind of falls into line. So it's a new way of operating, but I mean, it's done well for us.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Back a couple years, you mentioned that you had to make the shift from your previous 3PL to Bleckmann, and although you were not actively involved in the choice making, I guess, or the decision making, do you know what the guys, what triggered the guys to go with Bleckmann, and why, we were expected to bring a higher level of service support and partnership, so to speak?
Yeah, I think the original conversations first started due to just pure lack of capacity from our old 3PL.
Yeah.
They were okay. We filled the entire building and they had no more room to grow. And in 2021, our Black Friday sales exceeded all of our expectations, but the logistics just couldn't keep up. We think we fulfilled the last order of Black Friday 4 weeks after Black Friday, which was fun.
But
so conversation. Sorry.
In their defense and in proper British language, it was a bonkers situation, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was not their fault. They just didn't have the capacity, and it was because we smashed the forecast that we gave them as well. So
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
it definitely wasn't their fault, but there was no room to grow. So we'd spoken to a few potential logistics partners, and Robert from Bleckmann approached some of our guys who were in charge of ops at the time. Sold Bleckmann, sold obviously room for growth, which was a big one for us because we'd need X amount of space right now, but in the next few years we'd potentially need more, and we have definitely used more. So I think flexibility on space, flexibility on capacity was a big selling point. And also just through industry information. So we have some good friends in the ops team at Gymshark who we knew used Bleckmann. So we reached out to those guys and said, listen, we're looking at Bleckmann. How would you guys recommend them? How have they done for you? And they couldn't be more glowing and spoke about you in amazing terms. So it ended up being a no-brainer. We went from a few logistics options to just one, and it was Bleckmann, and it was signed, sealed and delivered from that talk with Gymshark, I believe.
Ah, man, so great to hear. And as a result, we knew, as a result of the conversations with you guys, we knew we would have to bring our exact A game to keep up your pace, and of course the ever changing demands, requirements, etc. So, can you tell us a bit more about how that partnership is helping you as a brand? Was helping and is helping you as a brand to grow and venture where you want instead of where you are confined to?
Yeah. So I think just hiring experts in their field is such an important part of business. I feel, again, Mike and George, the owners, are very good at knowing what they're not very good at. They don't attempt to get involved in things they're not good at or don't understand. So we try and just work with the best possible partners to take the weight off us. Like I'm no good at logistics, in all honesty. If I've got to go through reports about how much we've shipped, how many units we've got, how much we've got to pack, it just takes my time away from what I feel like I'm good at. And Bleckmann are very good at that. We get hourly reports, daily reports, weekly reports. We've shipped this, we've packed this, we've got this, all that kind of thing. So it just gives, for myself, more room to deal with the community and how we need to service them, whilst a very important part of serving the community is making sure they get the product they wanted, they ordered, and getting it on time. And if all that is sorted by you guys and I don't have to think about it at all, that's just, I can't speak any more highly of that service from you guys. And then it's also things that we would never even think about that you guys fix without us knowing about it. I always bring up the example. The first time I went down to Bleckmann, we had 2 or 3 aisles of clothing. That was 3 years ago, and now we have, I don't even know, 40, 50. The square footage is times by 6. And after the first Black Friday we did with you guys, we got a roundup from Ben, who I have to shout out, Ben Wells, the ops manager over at Lutterworth, who we use a lot in the UK. said we needed wider aisles so we could fit more products up and down, and we were like, yeah, I guess if you say so, go for it. And also the packing cages that you guys use. So I mean, I'm explaining this to you. You obviously know what's going on,
Well,
but
maybe just
you pack an
talk to me.
order. You pack 5 orders, put it into a cage, and then roll the cage down to the shipping bay or whatever they use over there. And we were just using regular sized packing bays, which Jim Charnock use, which the other vendors inside Bleckmann use.
Yeah.
But our hoodies are a lot thicker, so we were getting less orders packed onto each cage because our order parcels were wider, which is a problem we never thought of. That is just not in our wheelhouse what we'd even think of, and that was reducing efficiency, which meant less parcels were leaving. So the guys down at Lutterworth and Grobendonk we use in Belgium made, designed, and I guess manufactured wider cages so we could fit more parcels in, which meant more represent could leave the warehouse, which meant our efficiency could shoot up. It helped our Trustpilot. People were getting things on time. And again, it was just not something we would ever have thought of. And it was all dealt with without us really even knowing about it. You guys just fixed it up.
Yeah, I just hope that I don't start to repeat myself too often, but that is again a prime example of you being able to focus on your core activities by us doing the exact same on ours. So yeah, we need to make sure as a partner that we do the pesky supply chain management fulfillment stuff, so you can focus on your core, your beautiful products and your community and whatnot. Yeah, a good example. Thanks for that one. And when people listening to this podcast and they are approaching or they're at the time, the phase of their company that they need to start looking for support, likely in the form of a 3PL partnership, what advice can you give them to make sure that they don't make certain mistakes or that they select the right partner?
I would, broad question. I would fully recommend getting a 3PL, just in general. If you think about it, go for it. I would obviously recommend Bleckmann because we use them and they're amazing. But I think a good logistics operation is similar to a good customer service operation. If it's good, you don't think about it because there's no problems, so we don't hear problems about Bleckmann. Bleckmann's not at the forefront of our thoughts every day just because you guys just work in the background. Do the job that we pay for. You ship the parcels. There's never any issues. In the same vein, if George and Mike never hear about customer service at Represent, it means it's working well. The same thing. So I would, if you're choosing a 3PL, I would just ask about the reporting features because that's very important.
Yes.
You obviously don't want to be at the forefront of your brain, but you do need in the back of your brain just to be up to date on what's going on.
Well, you need to be able to check.
Yeah,
It's your product.
exactly.
So yeah.
And I always work on, again, coming along with my job about community, I always, it's about the people for me. So when we sat down with, again, Ben, Gary and Tim from the UK site, it was apparent that they cared about what they did. They wanted to service us in the best way they could. And they were very accountable, which is one of our values at Represent. If anything, not much goes wrong with Bleckmann, but things do go wrong in logistics. If anything does go wrong, they're straight on it. We have the personal numbers we can reach out. They have a link to us directly. I think open communication from your logistics partner is very important. If they're willing to speak about potential challenges, I think that's a big green flag, because if someone says, we can come in here, ship all your items, no problems, there's going to be no challenges, no changes, that's not strictly true. So I think people are willing to talk openly about potential challenges that might occur is a very positive attribute. I think just deal with the people, and the logistics will not work themselves out, but they will work themselves out.
Well, they definitely, if you deal with the people, they definitely will care more about your products because they care about you. And yeah, we're all in the people game. So yeah, I I think you're right. Yes, definitely. Going forward, do you have any nice projects? Of course you do, but nice projects and developments lined up for 2025 with us?
Yes, there's always things going on at Represent. Like I mentioned before, we drop pretty much every week. So in 2024,
Yeah.
we dropped might be a new collection, it might be just one item that's a bit more hype. There's always something coming to Represent. We dropped 50 times in 2024, which is basically every week. So challenging for the logistics partner, but you guys get it fixed up. So yeah, next year we have a big thing that we're launching next year is women's wear, which we've done a few years ago, but it was just women's sizes of the things we produce currently.
Yeah.
But this time we've got a whole women's team. We've hired like 10 people, designers, garment techs, all the full team. I'm forgetting. Product's not my scene, so I can't remember the full job titles, but garment techs, producers, designers, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Bleckmann side, that's a new challenge for us. We've never shipped dresses before, for example. So we'll be working with Bleckmann to work out.
So.
You have, oh yeah, obviously you have. So we'll be tapping into your guys' expertise on storage, shipping, all that kind of stuff. So that's Q1 sliding into Q2 of 2025. That's the big new project we've got is women's wear, and we have our first gym footwear launching in Q1 of 2021. So that's a new style for us, our 247 brand, which has gone from 5% of the business to now 15% of the business in 2 years. So our gym, activewear, lifestyle arm of the business is really growing. So I think those two are the main focuses for like half one of 2025 for Represent. But again, there's always something going on over here. Your guys in Lutterworth and Grobendonk are very aware how much goes on at Represent.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. And those the two examples you mentioned, that's not small potatoes. So yeah, well done. Well, I'm afraid that we are almost out of time, but of course I want to offer you the possibility to give us any afterburners or questions.
I don't think so, Eric. No.
Very good.
Me and Eric met a few months ago at an industry event in London. We got on like a house on fire, and I think we're both very similar, quite chill. So I think we get through the podcast, and I have no more of your time to take up, to be honest.
Perfect. Yeah, and if you talk as often as we do, there's not that much in terms of items we leave on the table. So thank you very much for your time today, Jimmy. And thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I hope we will be seeing you back soon. And until then, thank you very much.